All right, welcome back, everybody. We've got a new guest on the show for you guys, Ann-Marie Vargas. She lives in California, but buys real estate in other parts of the country, which is super interesting. We get questions from people that watch the show all the time about wanting to learn how to invest in real estate. That they don't, they can't invest where they live, maybe in California, Florida, New York, expensive markets, but they want to buy real estate. They want to invest. They like passive income. They just don't know where or how to do it. So, Ann-Marie, first of all, welcome to the show. We're excited to interview you and kind of get from the horse's mouth exactly how you did it. So, thanks for joining on and jumping on with us today.
Hi, yeah, nice to meet you officially.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm in San Diego, California, and as we know, California is a very expensive market on
For
both
sure.
coasts. And I was kind of in a limbo of what I wanted to do with my career. So I got out of retail and I decided I wanted to get into real estate investing. And I kind of was just one of those junkies listening to Bigger Pockets, listening to podcasts. And what really took off the trajectory of my career was I met my partner. My partner I actually met through real estate, through Bigger Pockets, and he was awesome. He already had about 8 properties, but he was very tenacious. We got along very well. It's a really, really great partnership overall. So he invited me out to Alabama. So we went out to Montgomery, Alabama, and I had heard about out of state investing, and I wasn't really intimidated by it. I think because I knew that California was just very expensive and there was no way with the money that I had, I was going to be able to afford anything in California.
Can't cash flow, right?
Yeah, cash flow.
Impossible.
So, of course, and San Diego now is one of the most expensive markets in the
For
nation.
sure. Yeah.
So went out to Alabama, and that was the first time I ever went to any other like southern state. So it was amazing to see how the houses were older. You were able to add value. Once you're there and you're walking homes, it really takes away a lot of the fear because you realize that it's a business and people are there to answer your questions, and people are very helpful in the South and the Midwest. I love it.
Yeah.
So being there, talking to contractors, talking to agents, and then with the numbers, obviously you're able to get cash flow, force appreciation.
Yeah.
And that's really something with the income that I had at the time, not really being able to do that in my own backyard.
So you got introduced to a market
Mhm.
through basically networking, which is amazing. So that's kind of step number one. And then, you went to the market to look at, properties that were there, to walk everything. I mean, it sounds like you bought some stuff that needed some work. So how did you avoid getting taken advantage of by contractors, I mean, 1,500 miles away?
Yes, so it's really great to build trust. So for example, like when we would go out and have dinner with contractors, it was really more of like
Hmm.
a partnership, like getting to know them. And I think sometimes too, it is about, the business side of it. But if you really want to build lasting relationships with these people, and in those markets, they're very tight knit.
Yeah.
So usually you can, if you have a good contractor, they can introduce you to a lot of other people. So really it's just staying on top of their work. I mean, obviously no contractor, you kind of go through a few until you find one that's good.
Oh, yeah.
It's really just building relationships, I feel, and being able to convey that, you're serious because, nobody wants to waste their time either. So
So do you like sign a contract with these folks? Do you force accountability through pictures, like along the way? How do you make sure that, what you were expecting to happen to this property is actually happening?
yeah, so with contractors, they can send you videos, they could FaceTime you, send
Yep.
you live videos on the updates. I mean, there has been a few times where things fall through the cracks, obviously. So that's why you kind of have to have a few on contractors like in place just in case. But
Yep.
overall, it's just really staying on top because we know that, I mean, at least for me, I know that contractors sometimes can be a really difficult piece. So it's just
Can be.
finding somebody that you can trust and just trying to give it a go.
Yeah, no, it sounds great. So it sounds like it's been successful for you. You've been able to buy homes in Birmingham, and then Kansas City is the second city you invested in.
So with Kansas City, yes, I was able to help as acquisitions over there, and it was really amazing because I learned even more than I did in Alabama. And Alabama was more passive. And then with Kansas City, it was more like I took on the reins to find the agents, find the wholesalers. We went out there and it was such an amazing experience because for the first time, I was able to really analyze the deal like all myself. And
Yep.
from there, be able to pass it on to know whether or not it was a good deal. So that one really gave me a lot of experience that then really I was able to take off and get into other forms of real estate investing.
That's really cool. So how do you calculate these deals before you get in and decide this is the deal that you want to buy? Do you run it through a deal calculator online? How do you find what the numbers are? How do you drill down to the actual numbers and the
Yeah,
analysis
so
process?
every calculator and deal is different, obviously, and everybody has their buy box. But I would say overall, the 1% rule isn't really something that you're going to find that much. So if you could find something, and this is single family, obviously not really so much multifamily, but with single family, if you can find something within even 0.7% of the rents, and you're able to force a good amount of appreciation, that was kind of like the threshold. So like anything between 0.7% rents to like 1% would be amazing. Obviously, you can either turn it into a flip or you can turn it into a rental. So with that, we had different metrics of being able to see how much we would be able to, it would be able to appraise for. And
Yep.
in those markets, they have an abundance of inventory. So it's great. You can kind of figure out every deal is so different over there.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, coming from somebody that I invest in Memphis, Tennessee, I had investments in Indianapolis. I've been to Kansas City a number of times, Birmingham, and there really is. I mean, Anne-Marie is exactly right. She hits the nail on the head. Like you can put a force appreciation in these homes by renovating and like doing something to them. But the big key and the key that everybody has, the question that everybody has is, how do you do all that from afar without getting taken advantage of? So it sounds like, you've just done your homework. You've networked with people, you've gotten introduced to contractors, you keep them accountable. In the final time we have left, I think we've got 4 minutes left. I'd like to know how you bank these properties. Are you going to local banks? Are you going to private money lenders? Like, are you doing cash out refinancing? The BRRRR method, is that essentially what these are?
Yeah, so for some of them, we had something in mind of essentially going into them. Like, for example, with one of my first property, I haven't seen any of my money hasn't come out. It was essentially supposed to be a BRRRR. So you go into it sometimes with one idea and then it turns into something
Yeah.
else. For the most part, they were hard money. So
Gotcha.
hard money, which then a few of them were sold. And then I have one right now that is currently, it was supposed to be sold a lot sooner, but when the market kind of took a shift, that we weren't able to sell it as quickly. So essentially hard money.
Yep.
I wouldn't always necessarily recommend hard money if you're new.
Yep.
I would definitely say look for a mentor, look for somebody who's able to hold your hand so you don't get caught with your pants down.
Yeah.
But hard money essentially is a great way to get started if you're really eager to do it, and if you have the confidence and the know-how, I would say go for it. But obviously hard money, and then you can refinance, sell it. I've kind of been more on the side of BRRRR does have potential, but if you're low on cash, I would definitely recommend doing a little bit of flips and some BRRRR because you want to be able to recycle your money as quickly as possible.
Yeah, no, you're right. You've got to build up cash somehow
Yeah.
to buy and hold real estate. So what does the future look like for Anne-Marie's business? Are you going to do a lot of wholesaling this year as you add units to the portfolio?
So I'm actually more itching to get into multifamily. I feel like for me, what I've noticed with single family is it's great. If you're playing the long-term game, definitely hold on to it, add it to your portfolio. But for an investor, you kind of itch to make more money more quickly. So
Yep.
I've kind of just been looking to get more into multifamily just to kind of have my money work a little bit harder. So that's kind of what I'm looking to do next.
That sounds great. Well, Anne-Marie, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being a guest on the show. Love to see you back again sometime. And
Yeah.
best of luck with everything in 2024. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, everybody.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.